including the mayor.
Yes.
At just past 8 o'clock. We'll run that down for you. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour right here on KEEL.
The KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Fire at the Chateau Apartments on Wayman Street off of Shreveport-Barksdale Highway. No one hurt. A woman was hurt in a downtown apartment fire. It happened on the third floor of the Lee Hardware building. The Shreveport Dog Park back open. All the cleanup from the flooding is finished. The park's been closed since early May. By the way, a group working to open another dog park in Shreveport at the Southern Hills Park. Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump officially retires after 27 years of service. 7 candidates are vying to be Crump's full-time replacement. They've all now taken the civil service exam. Are billboards going to be the death of the trucking industry in Louisiana? Matt Parker with that.
The Louisiana Motor Transport Association is pushing the legislature to pass billboard reform regarding lawyers. The group says that the amount of billboard lawyer advertisements is increasing the amount of insurance fraud in the state and causing trucking companies to quit doing business in Louisiana. According to the group, the average price to insure a truck in America is $4,000. In Louisiana, it's $20,000. A bill to reduce the amount of billboards was discussed in the last legislative session, but failed to pass. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much. They're asking the mayor and the council to consider paring it back. Chamber leaders urging them to only include essential capital projects and 1 or 2 quality of life improvements. Chamber President Tim Magner met with Perkins Wednesday to discuss possible changes to that package. A human skull has been found in Shreveport's Anderson Island neighborhood. According to police, the skull was found by a lawn crew on C.E. Galloway Boulevard near East Washington, across the street from the Montessori School. At this time, the Caddo Coroner's Office is trying to determine the identity and cause of death of the remains. Medical marijuana on the way for those who qualify.
It's in the bottle form. It's in elixir form with various different flavors. And we are doing the final test. We tested to make sure that it's what we call homogeneous. In other words, the first bottle and the 100th bottle and 1,000th bottle are all that have the same concentration of THC and CBD.
Ag Commissioner Mike Strain says the products could be ready for patients in the next week to 10 days. An elderly man drowns on Toledo Bend. According to the Sabine Parish Coroner's Office, 78-year-old William Ryan drowned near the A1 campgrounds. Officials say Ryan lost control of his boat while launching it to fish and was attempting to retrieve it when he drowned. Louisiana now has a minimum age for marriage in the state. The new law goes into effect today, sets the age at 16. During discussion by lawmakers, the age limit received pushback from GOP members, saying it puts a roadblock in front of marriage in the event of teenage pregnancy. President of Louisiana Family Forum, Gene Mills, was among those in opposition to that age limit.
It's in a better posture than it was when it was originally proposed. The original proposal came with a prohibition under 18. We felt like that was too strong.
Mills says the new law still gets in the way of having a child being born into a proper family setting with the lack of traditional marriage. You might not believe this, but the U.S. has had 20 mass killings so far this year. 4 of them happened in public places. The majority of the mass killings this year have been domestic related. Not sure I'd try this, but French's teams up with Cool House to create mustard-flavored ice cream. It will only be available in a few select large cities. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.107 FM, 710 KEEL. Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Morning traffic. Here's Ruben.
Looks like 3132's got it all clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
.107 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app, a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Do it, for heaven's sake.
Do what?
Download the app. I'm talking to them, not you.
Yeah, the app is really cool.
So last night I went, we had John Kay on yesterday, Americans for Prosperity, Louisiana chapter. And they had sort of a rally last night. It's called Lift Up Louisiana, Americans for Prosperity. And everyone there says congratulations on the Gracie.
That's sweet. Thank you.
And I hate you more than ever.
I know.
So I was nauseous when I walked out of there last night. It was, what did I say? I said, you guys can just back off all the, she got the Gracie.
Yeah.
Tell her, don't tell me. I'm over it.
Right, you're over it.
I literally I was nauseous. Sort of, people were heaping praise on you.
We need to get to a male Gracie.
For me. It's like, Robert, here, carry this praise back to Erin. And I was just,
We need to find you something.
Speaking of nausea, medical marijuana will be available soon. And we had a chat yesterday. Now, that's a segue, my friends.
That's pretty good.
Medical marijuana could, in fact, be available in Louisiana within days.
Yep.
And we had a chat yesterday with Commissioner of Agriculture, Mike Strain. It's kind of where we started. How, in the process.
Where the heck are we?
That seems to be ongoing. Where the heck are we?
We completed, testing of the concentrate, some time ago, and then we completed the testing of the stock solution. In other words, they take the concentrate and make stock solution, and now we are testing the final patient product. The product has been bottled, and on Monday we picked up samples of the final deliverable product. So it's in the bottle form. It's in elixir form with various different flavors, and we are doing the final test. We tested to make sure that it's what we call homogeneous. In other words, the first bottle and the 100th bottle and 1,000th bottle are all that have the same concentration of THC and CBD. And we also check the THC and CBD levels to confirm that that's the same as is on the label. And we also then check it to make sure it doesn't have any type of contamination, bacterial contamination, that could have happened during the bottling process. We expect that to take about 7 days, and that's 7 business days. So we picked it up on Monday. We started testing Monday. We think everything, unless there is an unforeseen problem, such as finding contaminant, which we don't think we will find, because we tested the stock solution before it was bottled. And so, unless something happened in the bottling process, we should be good to go next week.
So you kind of
working really hard to get it moving, to get it to pharmacies, clearing it to go next week.
You kind of beat me to my question. Unless there are unforeseen problems. But that seems to have, there have been numerous unforeseen problems to this point. Do you really anticipate, or are you optimistic that within, say, the next 30 days, it'll be on the shelves?
I'm very optimistic that within the next 7 to 10 days, it will be made available to the pharmacist.
Okay. The pharmacist will have it. To get it from the pharmacist, what do I need to do, Mike?
Okay. You have to go to one of the 84 physicians that have medical therapeutic marijuana licenses. You can look those up on the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners website and to get a list of those physicians. And then you will go to the physician, and they will give you a recommendation. That recommendation then, and these are the conditions: intractable pain, cancer, AIDS, cachexia, seizure disorder, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, spasticity, severe muscle spasms, Parkinson's disease, glaucoma, post-traumatic stress disorder, autism spectrum disorder, Crohn's disease, and muscular dystrophy that have access to the drug. And then you can, so if you are qualified and you receive a recommendation, you can go to one of the 9 marijuana pharmacies. And in the Shreveport area, that is in the northwest, that would be Hope Pharmacy on Kings Highway in Shreveport.
Okay. Let me ask you, people that haven't paid attention to this is not marijuana that's going to also get you high. So you go in and fake your glaucoma or your pain or whatever. Explain that. People who think this is marijuana that's also going to get them high.
No, ma'am. This is, so what is, the marijuana plant was grown, and then from that we extracted THC and CBDs. And then different formulations were made specifically at the levels to treat these diseases. And you will be allotted a certain amount by your physician based on the disease state and a concentration by your disease state. And also the Board of Pharmacy will be keeping very strict records on the amount you receive from any pharmacy and any physician. So this is not a recreational marijuana. This is a therapeutic marijuana. And it's not a smokable. It's not an inhalant. It's in an elixir. It is a medication. It is in a medicine form. So it's not like the state did not grow marijuana to dispense marijuana buds. It has created a final deliverable medical product. Now, in the future, the delivery form may change. And the state has also improved a inhalant, but it's a metered dose inhaler, similar that you would use for asthma or other things. It's not going to be vaping, smoking, that sort of thing.
Excuse me, Dr. Mike,
and
you are
not at
talking...
such a level that you can get high from the THC.
You're talking in the form available. It's both an oral and a topical, right?
The form available today, right, is going to be in an oral form. That's what's coming out on the shelves first.
Okay, so
there will be other delivery systems, but this is the first, and it is an elixir, and it will have a variety of different flavors. 2
authorized state growers, ag centers at both LSU and Southern University. A, do you anticipate they will be able to keep up with demand? And B, is there any consideration to expand that list of authorized growers?
LSU now has produced 3 batches, and so they're now growing on their 4th batch. So they have, fully processed 2, and they will be processing the 3rd. So they have 3 batches that they have produced. And the way it works, it's in a batch system, and multiple batches are grown at the same time, and the way the manufacturing process works. So we do believe, unless there's a tremendous demand, right, that we'll be able to keep up pace with production. Also, Southern University put their first seeds in the ground last week, so they're starting in the production process. From seeds to final product is a 4 to 5 month period per batch, and you grow multiple batches at the same time. So you have multiple plants in multiple stages in multiple areas of your production facility, so that you're always in the production of a final product, again, by batch. So we do believe that they're going to be able to keep up with it. If not, then they do have the option to expand, both LSU and Southern. There's not been any recent discussion in the legislature on giving additional licenses or franchises to other universities. That could be a discussion at any time in the legislature, but that has not been the case so far. But LSU and Southern do have the capacity and the authorization to expand as much as needed. But it is based on a general recommendation. The Board of Pharmacy determines the total volume needed. Those recommendations then go to the universities to set their production limits.
Mike Strain, the Ag Commissioner, as many as 10,000 patients are already signed up and ready to go, but you anticipate that number could go upwards of 150,000 folks, correct?
We don't know. We simply do not know how high that will go. We do have 84 physicians that will be seeing patients and writing scripts, but the way that the system is designed, it can be expanded. So hopefully we can keep up with demand. If not, then we'll be under additional pressure to expand production.
Mike, one more question, and don't get mad at me. People have said that
Get mad at her, Mike. Get mad at her.
This has been delayed and delayed and delayed, and they've been pointing a finger at you. I know you want to respond to that.
Well, if you look at where we're at, the first contracts were signed with the universities, with their subcontractors, in, I think, November, late fall of 2017. They began design and construction of buildings to put these products in and getting the process in place, working on the standard operating procedures, et cetera, and that was in the spring of 2018. Now, under the law, I'm charged that they had to all pass suitability testing, and that goes through state police. And there were some delays there and some frustrations there, but that's the law. The subcontractors have to pass state police background suitability, no exception. And so, there was a lot of pressure, so why don't you let them get started in permanent production by passing suitability? I'm not allowed to do that under the law, period. But if you look at what we've accomplished, normally to bring a drug to market by the Food and Drug Administration takes 8 to 10 years. You have 2 to 3 years of clinical trials after the drug is produced. So from the time you have the compound to the time you have the drug is 8 to 10 years. And we've done this as a state in less than 2 years from the time of inception of putting the product, the buildings together from now. And so, this has been a fast track. But again, we had a demand before we had a product. Normally, when you're making pharmaceutical products, you have a product that's fully developed and on the shelves, and then you bring it and market it to the public. This was done kind of in reverse.
1017 FM, 710 Keel Sports, just a couple of seconds away. Fletch is standing by. Here's Ruben.
Looks like 3132's got it all clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Time for I almost said florts. God, would that be awesome? Time for florts. Here's Spim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Houston made the biggest move among the big league squads before Wednesday's trade deadline, acquiring six-time All-Star starter pitcher Zach Greinke. The deal came with Arizona and basically only cost Houston 3 prospects, although 3 of their top 5 prospects. Greinke arrives with a 10-4 record and a 2.90 earned run average, which makes him fit right in with Houston's rotation of Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Wade Miley, all of whom, like Greinke, are in the top 15 in the major leagues in terms of earned run average. Last night, Cleveland blasted 3 3-run home runs, though, in a 10-4 takedown of the Astros. Texas held on to pitcher Mike Minor through the trade deadline, and he picked up his first win in over a month last night in Arlington, despite not really pitching that well. His offense picked him up in a 9-7 win over Seattle. The Saints and wide receiver Michael Thomas agreed to a deal yesterday morning for 5 years, $100 million with $61 million guaranteed. He's the highest paid receiver in the NFL now, and he's signed with the Saints through 2024. Speaking of football, it kicks off tonight in Canton, Ohio. It's the Hall of Fame game. It's Denver versus Atlanta. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Pull up the LSU story. Do you mind?
I've got it. I know you're going to love this.
Who wrote this? I know this was not an Erin McCarty written story.
No.
You write about 80% of the news.
No, 20. Matt writes the rest.
Yeah, let's be honest here.
Okay, I know.
If there's a mule that's pulling this cart known as Robert and Erin,
Yeah, he's the
I'm
jackass in the
jackass.
room. Yeah.
There's the promo right there, kids. Nice job. And it's only barely
This
6
is a Louisiana Radio Network
okay.
piece.
When you read that story, what was the first thing I said to you?
Who wrote that drivel? Yeah,
I said, no, my quote was, wow, who wrote that? They really hate LSU. Mm-hmm. Read the story.
LSU football kicks off camp today with the team rolling into Baton Rouge with more hype and expectations than they've had in over half a decade.
I'm not sure that's true either.
No.
Wait a second. No, they were...
we always have those hopes.
They've won national championships in the last 15 to 20 years. Mm-hmm. A couple of them, if I recall. And going into those seasons, they were contenders for the national championship.
And we had lots of hype. We have hype and expectation every year.
Pardon me. No one in this FBS era, college football world, this season expects anybody again other than Clemson, Alabama, or maybe Michigan. Nobody expects LSU to be in the Final Four. Mm-mm. Is that fair?
We're in the top 10 preseason. But,
okay, but the point I'm making is more hype, more. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, you got to get to this next line because this is why the hype is getting crazy. Fans are buzzing about the addition of former Saints assistant Joe Brady, who's been tasked with dragging the offense into the 21st century.
Okay, wait just a second.
Come on.
Who hates
We all know our offense has been sluggish. We all know.
I'm just,
what do we say every year? If we ever had a quarterback, we'd have a great team.
As an LSU fan, first of all, the verb of that sentence, dragging, okay, as though every coach on the staff, everybody in the athletic department, the players from the top to the bottom.
The rest of them suck.
Well, not only does it say that, but nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
If you have to drag your kids to church, it doesn't mean
stepping
they're
up,
dressed and in the car at 9 a.m. on Sunday.
No, you pretty much have to tie the shoes, yeah.
But that's just not true. That's just not true.
No, it's not. It's not. It really is
First
kind
of all,
drastic.
There's not more hype and more, what was the other word the guy used?
Expectations.
In the last half a century. That's just BS. Dragging the offense into the 21st century. That's just not true.
That means since 2000. We haven't had no offense since 2000.
No. Last half century. In the last 50 years, the way you read that.
Into the 21st century.
No, before that, though. More hype.
Half decade.
Okay, sorry.
21st century, we have had no offense. Is that true? Has it been 19 years since we've had really no offense?
Since somebody's been good. Yeah, those two national championship teams. Somebody who hates LSU wrote that. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin has local news up next. Here's Ruben.
Looks like 3132's got it all clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, the Weather Channel.
Information. KEEL News now.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump has officially retired after 27 years of service. 7 candidates are vying to be Crump's full-time replacement. Ben Raymond, Michael Carter, Janice Daly, Jason Frazier, Tedra Smith, Wayne Smith, and Kevin Strickland have all taken the civil service exam and hope to be the next chief. Now, an advisory panel made up of citizens and public officials, including Steve Prater and Jerry Bowman, the council president, will help the mayor choose the city's next law enforcement leader. The Shreveport Dog Park is back open for the pups. All the cleanup from the flooding is finished. The park's been closed since early May. By the way, a group is working to open another dog park in Shreveport at the Southern Hills Park. We're just days away from the opening of the new Benton High School. Workers putting the finishing touches on the new $47 million complex before opening the doors to students on August 7th. Fire contained at the Exxon plant in Beaumont, Texas. After an explosion, 37 people were hurt. After several major delays, it appears that medical marijuana will be made available to those who need it in the next few weeks. Those with PTSD, cancer, epilepsy, and other serious conditions can have the medication prescribed by licensed doctors in the state. We asked Ag Commissioner Mike Strain what's happening with this now.
Now we are testing the final patient product. The product has been bottled.
Those who think they need medical marijuana treatments will have to be recommended by their doctor to a licensed physician able to prescribe the drug. Medical marijuana treatments are expected to be available at the Shreveport Pharmacy as early as next week. The Chamber of Commerce wants the mayor to revise his bond package. Matt Parker with that.
The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much and has asked the mayor and the council to consider paring it back. Chamber leaders are urging them to only include essential capital projects and 1 or 2 quality of life improvements. Chamber President Tim Magner met with Perkins Wednesday to discuss possible changes to the bond package. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Louisiana Motor Transport Association pushing legislation to pass billboard reform regarding lawyers. The group says the amount of billboard lawyer advertisements is increasing the amount of insurance fraud in the state and causing trucking companies to quit doing business in Louisiana. An elderly man drowns on Toledo Bend. According to the Sabine Parish Coroner's Office, 78-year-old William Ryan drowned near the A1 campgrounds. Officials say Ryan lost control of his boat while launching it to fish and was attempting to retrieve it when he drowned. Tulane releasing a report comparing pre- and post-expansion quality of life for the Medicaid expansions enrollees, and the results do look positive. Monthly trips to the ER were down 22%. Tulane Health Policy Chair Mark Diana says repeat visitors saw a nearly 9% drop in visits.
People who were going 2, 3, 4 times a month to the ED, and we saw those people, their utilization also dropped. For the Medicaid program, that's clearly going to represent some cost savings.
The study also shows the number of people who report they did not take medication as prescribed due to cost dropped by 66%. LSU football kicks off camp today with the team rolling into Baton Rouge with more hype and expectations than they've had in over half a decade. Fans are buzzing about the addition of former Saints assistant Joe Brady, who's been tasked with dragging the offense into the 21st century. Tiger Rag assistant editor Tyler Nunez.
Obviously, the new offense is something to look at. Obviously, we're not going to see what this looks like at fall camp, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we do see in individual drills from the offense.
Brady was brought on as a passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach. A laid-off dad in Arizona got desperate, started handing out his resumes at street corners. He's now gotten hundreds of job offers. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Look in the road ahead. No, wait, look in the road. You see. So they found a skull?
Yeah, lawn crews were cutting some grass over there. C. Galloway.
Wait. So it was on the surface?
No. I guess they were cutting a ditch back in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And
where is there?
I was just getting ready to say that. C. Galloway at East Washington, right across the street from the Montessori school.
Yeah.
And they were back behind some of those houses there on East Washington and found the skull. And they've been working out there for a good 24 hours now.
How much of a skull was this?
They're not saying. They're not saying if it was a fully intact skull or if it was a piece of. I don't know. But they were back out. The coroner was back out yesterday looking for other possible remains. And they're not saying anything about it yet, about how long it'd been there. Do we know if it's male or female? It's going to be sent to the Faces Lab in Baton Rouge, though.
First, go ahead.
For possible identification. So that's
where they do that, like they build the head.
They build the face back on the skull. So
but there's how do they have any idea what your nose might have looked like?
I don't know. I don't do that business, but they have a way to do it. I guess based on the shape of the nose bone or whatever.
Can you imagine?
Is there a nose bone? Yeah.
Can you imagine? No, that's cartilage.
Well, how do you break a nose if you don't? If you
break the cartilage.
There's no bone in your nose?
Nah. Haven't you ever seen a skull?
I guess I haven't. Maybe
well, there is a little spur, like way up here.
There is a spur? Okay.
Can you imagine mowing the lawn?
Oh, my gosh.
And all of a sudden, that's what look, if it obviously had to be recognizable as a human skull, or they just would have run over it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to some hard white thing. Chop, 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 chop.
Right.
It had to have been recognizable. And that would, I don't know about you, I've mowed a couple of lawns in my life. 1902 Bay Street.
Yeah.
Bossier City, Shady Road, 7-11-11.
I mean, I know they stopped mowing at that point. They were like, well, we're done.
We need
we're
to
out of here.
call the cops.
Peace out, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We need to, this is, wow.
Yeah.
Stay in touch with the coroner on that one.
I will.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine how I would react. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Erin.
Man, I'm feeling good today.
She'll explain why later. I'm not sure. Matt and I, never mind. We'll just go ahead. Traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Starting things off looking pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Okay, so your little smile on your face this morning.
Yeah, I have to tell you today that I have never been more proud of our new mayor. He's new to politics and new in the world of running a city than I am today.
Speaking of the mayor, Adrian Perkins joining us just past 8 o'clock this morning.
And I have been one of his biggest critics. There's no doubt about that.
Well, certainly loudest.
Yeah, I definitely have been, and I'll readily admit that. But I looked over his review committee, his citizens panel that's going to recommend who the next police chief is. And I know you said on this radio station a week ago or so, who's to say he's not going to have all his buddies, on that panel to recommend the next chief. I mean, you made that point.
That's what I would do.
And yeah, get all my buddies to pick the guy I want. He has named a citizens committee, people that are in law enforcement, people that are in that realm, to pick to interview the candidates, to interview the top candidates, and make a recommendation to him.
How far into this before you run down the names?
Wow.
How far into this interview process, if at all, are they?
Well, they just took the test, so we don't even know who's qualified. They can't do any. You first have to score the 75. That's the bottom line. When you get the test results back, then the ones who scored the 75 are then eligible. Only 7 took the test. I'm a little disappointed in that we had nobody from the outside world, nobody from other departments in Texas or New Orleans or Mississippi, wherever. Nobody from Bossier. They're all in-house type folks.
The announced retirement of Chief Alan Crump.
They sent a release out yesterday. He's retired immediately. He's done. He is now former Chief Alan Crump. He is retired, effective immediately, was what the quote
Bluntly
said.
speaking, does that change anything?
Oh,
He hasn't been on the job for...
He's been on the payroll, baby.
Well, that's the only thing it changes.
Yeah.
And bluntly speaking, not much of that changes because now he just shifts to pension.
To the retirement fund. It's a big difference. Yeah, it's a big difference. It clears up a salary within the police department's budget. Matt, you wanted to say?
Well, the big issue was now that he's out the way, you can actually start the process of hiring a new chief.
Yes.
As long as he was officially there, whether he's actually there or not.
You can't name anybody a chief.
Obviously, they saw this coming because the process has already begun.
Well, they knew
taking the test.
They knew it was coming this summer, and the test scores are good for 18 months. So they knew we could give the test now. Those scores are good for 18 months. He'll be retired by then. We can move on. But I am telling you, the committee that the mayor appointed shows me he is not playing. He has picked some heavy hitters. He has picked some people that he's going to disagree with from time to time, that he has disagreed with from time to time, and people from both sides of the aisle, conservatives, liberals. He's picked a wide spectrum of folks, and I'll run down the list. It's not a long list, but it's very interesting who's on this panel. Caddo Sheriff Steve Prater, Caddo DA James Stewart, Natchitoches Parish Sheriff Victor Jones. I don't know if you know Victor or not.
I do not.
Civil Rights Attorney Lori Lyons, Criminal Defense Attorney, and he's more than a criminal defense attorney. He represents a lot of police officers before the Civil Service Board, Ron Machota. Retired Shreveport Police Department Assistant Chief E.J. Lewis. Retired police officer and former Crime Stoppers Director Jim Taliaferro, and City Council Chairman Jerry Bowman. That is the citizens panel that will be making a recommendation to the mayor about who the next chief is. This is a mayor who, in my mind, says, with this panel, I'm not certain that I will know what I need to look for in a chief. I want to get that expertise from folks who do know, and I want to look at their recommendations and then move forward. Now, whether he takes their recommendation or gets them to do a top 3 for me or whatever he does, I am thrilled to see who he's put on this panel. He says, and I'm quoting here, he's looking for a candidate that is 100% committed to making Shreveport safer, Public safety is my administration's top priority. The next police chief must be committed to and capable of implementing community-oriented policing strategies.
On that topic and perhaps a couple of others, Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins joins us on Keel just past 8 o'clock this morning. Traffic time right now. Ruben's ready.
Looks like 3132's got it all clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
.117 FM, 710 Keel, and Sports and Fletcher's here.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Houston made the biggest move among the big league squads before Wednesday's trade deadline, acquiring six-time All-Star starter pitcher Zach Greinke. The deal came with Arizona and basically only cost Houston three prospects, although three of their top five prospects. Greinke arrives with a 10-4 record and a 2.90 earned run average, which makes him fit right in with Houston's rotation of Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Wade Miley, all of whom, like Greinke, are in the top 15 in the major leagues in terms of earned run average. Last night, Cleveland blasted three-run home runs, though, in a 10-4 takedown of the Astros. Texas held on to pitcher Mike Minor through the trade deadline, and he picked up his first win in over a month last night in Arlington, despite not really pitching that well. His offense picked him up in a 9-7 win over Seattle. The Saints and wide receiver Michael Thomas agreed to a deal yesterday morning for 5 years, $100 million with $61 million guaranteed. He's the highest paid receiver in the NFL now, and he's signed with the Saints through 2024. Speaking of football, it kicks off tonight in Canton, Ohio. It's the Hall of Fame game. It's Denver versus Atlanta. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
That explains a lot. Did you hear what he just said? Mm-hmm. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Ace producer Matt Parker.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to start treating you. He's looking at us, actually. He says, I'm going to start treating you guys the way my dad treated me. I said, that explains a lot.
Well, why don't you explain to the audience what you were doing to inspire this conversation?
Erin and I will sometimes be a little goofy, and the point is that
No.
you look down at Goofy. Stop a second. I found out something. This was incredible. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely awesome. I found out. How long have you been in this room? 4.5 years?
Yeah, close to 5, if not 5.
I found out something about our little Maddie. It was the day you were gone. What was it? Last Friday. Mm-hmm. I found out something about Matt. You know what it is?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I found out something about Matt last Friday. When you're in a room this big, which is basically like a king-size bed, every morning for 3 hours, in your case, longer.
Yeah.
Well, he and I are in the same room after the show for a while, too. The point being, you think you know everything there is to know about something.
You learned something new?
I found out something last week. Not only did I not know it, in all our off-the-air conversations, not only did I not know, it's awesome.
What?
Know what it is yet?
No.
He's named after Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke.
Oh, yeah. I heard y'all talking about that. I did.
Is that awesome or what?
That's pretty cool.
Your dad must be like the biggest Gunsmoke fan.
Oh, my dad loves Gunsmoke.
So your middle name is Dillon?
No.
Chester. Chester. Matthew Doc Parker. Coming up just past 7 o'clock, Tim Magner, President, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce, had a meeting with the mayor. We'll see what's up. In the meantime, here's Rush on Keel.
Under a California law that took effect Tuesday, President Trump will not be allowed to appear on California's primary ballot next year unless he releases his tax returns. The new law requires that all presidential candidates must submit 5 years of income tax filings by this November in order to secure a spot on a ballot for the March 2020 primary. Now, anybody with a basic knowledge of the American political system and the law will tell you why this is going to end up in court. The Constitution sets the requirements to run for president, not the Democrat supermajority in California, not the California governor, not California politicians. The new California law is unconstitutional on its face, but there's another problem. California Democrats cannot dictate to another political party what candidate they can or cannot choose in their primary. That's a First Amendment issue. This new law's a sham. It's just pure political showboating for a bunch of radicals that live out there. California Democrats knew it when they wrote it, and California Governor Newsom knew it when he signed it. This was done for one reason only, to appease the Trump-hating kook base of the Democrat Party, and they are still trying to find something to overturn the 2016 elections. That's what it's really about. Do you know that nearly 1 in 4 people have experienced identity theft? It can happen, and happen out of nowhere. That was Dot's experience with identity theft. She heard about LifeLock right here on this program, and after learning about how hackers and thieves steal people's identities, Dot and her husband decided to sign up with LifeLock. And boy, were they grateful they did. Dot had 26 identity theft alerts in just 4 months. Thanks to LifeLock, she was able to decline the charges before more damage was done. It could have taken months, maybe even years, for her to resolve these problems on her own. LifeLock's restoration team helped Dot resolve these issues quickly. Now, folks, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions in all businesses, but LifeLock can detect threats that you might miss on your own. Go to LifeLock.com or call 800-440-4833. Use the promo code RUSH for an extra 10% off your first year.
We have reports of a minor accident on Uri Drive near Anniston Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Keel Weather Channel forecast, kind of cloudy and hot and humid today, near 90. right now, 73 degrees.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 1017 FM, Shreveport.
Good morning. Just past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, and lots of local news, and she has it next.
Alan Crump is no longer police chief in Shreveport. We'll talk about that. The Shreveport Dog Park is back open. I know you'll catch Robert down there. And the Chamber of Commerce is asking the mayor to rethink that bond package.
Matt, get my leash. Tim Magner, president, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce, had a little get-together, a confab with His Honor the Mayor. What will he tell us? Will he give us behind-the-scene hints?
Ooh, we need to get the poop.
Mr. Tim's just a couple of seconds away, but enough about the dog park, Fletcher, and sports, traffic, and weather, and it's all coming up next right here on KEEL.
Report. Now on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much. They asked the mayor and the council to consider paring it back. We're just days away from the opening of the new Benton High School. Workers putting the finishing touches on the new $47 million complex before opening the doors to students on August 7th. Fire at the Chateau Apartments on Wayman Street off of Shreveport-Barksdale Highway early this morning. Now, it was contained to one apartment, displacing one homeowner there. Others did suffer some smoke damage. No one hurt. A woman was hurt in a downtown apartment fire last night. Happened on the third floor of the Lee Hardware building in downtown Shreveport. According to investigators, the blaze was put out within 15 minutes and was contained to that one apartment. The woman, who was found lying on the floor, was taken to the hospital for treatment of multiple injuries. At this time, her condition is unknown. The fire remains under investigation. The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much, and they're asking the mayor and the council to consider paring it back a little. Chamber leaders are urging them to only include essential capital projects and one or two quality-of-life improvements. Chamber President Tim Magner met with Perkins Wednesday to talk about possible changes to that bond package. The police chief officially retires, the search for his replacement heating up. Matt Parker with that.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump has officially retired after 27 years of service. 7 candidates are vying to be Crump's full-time replacement. Ben Raymond, Michael Carter, Janice Daly, Jason Frazier, Tedra Smith, Wayne Smith, and Kevin Strickland all took the civil service test and hope to be the next chief of police in Shreveport. An advisory panel made up of citizens and public officials, including Steve Prater and Jerry Bowman, will help the mayor choose the city's next law enforcement leader. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A human skull found in Shreveport's Anderson Island neighborhood. According to police, the skull was found by a lawn crew on C.E. Galloway Boulevard near East Washington, across the street from the Montessori School. At this time, the coroner's office is attempting to determine the identity and cause of death of the human remains. The Shreveport Dog Park is back open for the pups. All the cleanup from the flooding is finished. The park's been closed since early May. By the way, a group is working to open another dog park in Shreveport at the Southern Hills Park. The long wait is over for medical marijuana in Louisiana. Ag Commissioner Mike Strain.
Unless something's happening in the bottling process, we should be good to go next week.
Strain says final testing is being done and patients will be able to get the medicine from the participating pharmacy in just a matter of days. A settlement is being announced today by Baton Rouge police involving Blaine Salamone, the officer who fatally shot Alton Sterling. Salamone appealed his termination, but has yet to have a hearing on that appeal. Legal analyst France Bourgat says leading up to the announcement, there's not much clarity as to what the settlement means.
From a monetary standpoint or from a Salamone continuing to be a law enforcement officer standpoint, but what we do know is that announcement will alleviate the need to have a hearing.
Bourgat says the settlement could set a precedent on how future cases similar to that of Salamone are addressed. The Navy opens an investigation into a fighter jet crash in Death Valley National Park. The search underway for the pilot who went missing. And in New York, a woman gives birth in the back seat of a taxi cab while the driver talks her through the process. You can see him repeatedly telling her to breathe and do the magic. He also tells the woman and her husband, everything is good, clean the face, we Gucci. I'm Erin McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic time from Mr. Rubin.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Ouetta, get the Weather Channel.
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. That Keel app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Mr. Tim Magner, President, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back. Welcome back to our palatial studios, sir.
Welcome. It's great to be
Not as palatial as yours from what I hear, but we're doing the best we can.
That's where my wedding's going to be.
Big. When is that going to be, by the way?
As soon as I meet him.
Have we, how many times have we done that,
Yeah,
Joe?
exactly.
Who was the last guy? Do you remember?
That was with Cole Vosbury,
Yes,
I guess.
very good.
Yeah.
So, a meeting with the mayor, a confab, a get-together. Spill the beans. What can you tell us?
No, it was a good conversation. Again, the position that we've taken is that the bond issue is really important for the future of our community. We want to make sure we get it right. And I think the conversation that I had with him was essentially that was the substance.
Before we get to the meat and potatoes of your conversation, you just picked up the phone, you called the mayor, said, hey, let's hang out. And he said, come on down. Is that basically what happened?
Well, I mean, we had written a letter to the mayor and the city council, essentially laying out some of the ideas and concerns we had with the current bond issue. You know, again, I think our position is that it's important for us to get taxation right. We know that there are critical needs in the community that need to be addressed, and we know that as taxpayers, it's our responsibility to fund that, and we want to make sure that the conversation that we have about both the priority and the capacity for the city to be able to execute on those is something that's transparent and it's something that we can support.
You've asked the mayor to pare it back some. Do you have a figure in mind?
No, again, and that was the substance of our conversation was we need to be in a dialogue with the city and the administration about what that looks like.
If it's not paired, does the Chamber of Commerce's support depend on what the final version looks like? I mean, you obviously will not support the $220 million.
Well, again, I think it's a question of what that $220 million or what that number is and what it's encompassing. I think, as we said in the letter, there's some concerns about the scope and scale. It's much larger than the last one, and there were projects from the last one that weren't completed, and there was some concern about budgeting. I mean, when you look at some of the projects that are often budgeted, a lot of them end up on the list year after year after year. And so the question is, have they been rebudgeted? Is that number, is $3 million for a fire station, is that the number? And if so, then great, let's work with that. But if fire stations are costing us, 4.5 or something, then putting 3 on there isn't going to get it done. And I think there, with a number of the projects, or several projects anyway, from the 2011 bond issue, we've gotten to a situation where it's more expensive than what was originally budgeted.
It's a pretty lengthy wish list on that $220 million bond issue.
Yes.
And what pops into my head is, and I'm going to sort of hold up the consent decree as an example.
Mm-hmm.
What was originally $350 million is now over $1 billion. Given the scope of some of the projects in the proposed $220 million proposal, is it illogical to ask, is the $220 million enough?
Well, I think that is a question, and again, there's really sort of two aspects of this. One is, are the projects in there appropriately budgeted? And the second thing is, can they be accomplished in the time and with the dollars that are expended? And that's part of the dialogue that we want to be able to have is, what are they asking for? Is it conceivable to be able to accomplish the things with the money and time that's there?
So a lesser amount, say theoretically, instead of buying the big car over 5 years, maybe we should buy a smaller car and just float it for 2.
Well, or let's look at the projects that we can do in a reasonable amount of time. What again, when you look at some of the projects are 2-year projects. Some of the projects are 5-year projects. Let's make sure that the projects that we're doing, we can get the wins and be able to move forward with a series of projects that can be accomplished with the dollars that are budgeted within the scope of the bond issue.
We're talking to Tim Magner with the Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. Let me ask you this question, because some of the items on the list, an $11 million or $12 million for economic development and job growth, or whatever the phrasing was some of it too vague for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of the projects have been sort of put up under larger headings, and I think and again, I think the mayor and the city council are working toward this level of transparency to be able to get information out there. As we see the list today, there's not enough information for some of those things.
But the chamber's about economy and job growth. Why would that be, since that is sort of in your wheelhouse? Why is that in your mind a little vague or a little too much?
Well, again, I think we want to understand what those dollars are. In general, the general obligation bonds have been used for capital projects. They haven't been used to do things like purchase vehicles or to invest, to do sort of development projects or things like that don't involve bricks and mortar or.
Can you stay with us, because I want to talk quality of life issues too?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that look in your eyes. I have more questions.
Yeah, because somebody has called that economic development money a slush fund, and I want to ask about that too.
I think that might be a little bit strong,
sure
and just because she's got a birthday coming up doesn't mean it's right. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, sports just ahead. More with Mr. Tim is on the way. Here's Ruben.
We have reports of a minor accident on Uri Drive near Anniston Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, the Weather Channel.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Houston made the biggest move among the big league squads before Wednesday's trade deadline, acquiring six-time All-Star starter pitcher Zach Greinke. The deal came with Arizona and basically only cost Houston 3 prospects, although 3 of their top 5 prospects. Greinke arrives with a 10-4 record and a 2.90 earned run average, which makes him fit right in with Houston's rotation of Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Wade Miley, all of whom, like Greinke, are in the top 15 in the major leagues in terms of earned run average. Last night, Cleveland blasted 3 3-run home runs, though, in a 10-4 takedown of the Astros. Texas held on to pitcher Mike Minor through the trade deadline, and he picked up his first win in over a month last night in Arlington, despite not really pitching that well. His offense picked him up in a 9-7 win over Seattle. The Saints and wide receiver Michael Thomas agreed to a deal yesterday morning for 5 years, $100 million with $61 million guaranteed. He's the highest paid receiver in the NFL now, and he's signed with the Saints through 2024. Speaking of football, it kicks off tonight in Canton, Ohio. It's the Hall of Fame game. It's Denver versus Atlanta. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Photo. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty in studio for another El Segmento. Is Mr. Tim Magner, President, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. What you got down there, kid?
Well, Tim, I hope it's okay if I call you Tim.
Okay.
In your exchanges with the mayor and the city council members, you've also encouraged them to include 1 or 2, I believe the email said, quality of life items that will help bring people here or spur growth. Give me an idea why that's so important to you.
Well, when you look at some of the items that are in the bond proposal, it's a lot like replacing your water heater, right? I mean, it's something you've got to do, but it's not sexy. It doesn't add to the curb appeal of your home, if you will. And I think when you look at communities, there was a really interesting piece in the New York Times recently about communities that are not in and of themselves destinations, and that part of what they need to do is to be vigorous and aggressive when it comes to quality of life. And I think we have a great deal of quality of life amenities. We have the festivals. We have some really great stuff. We don't have anything recently that's iconographic, that is something that stands out.
Suggestions, ideas.
Well, again, I think things like they had the lighting on the bridge, or the riverfront park. I mean, there are things that we've worked at to do, but I don't think in recent years there's anything that really stands out that we could point to. And as we look at both, taking care of business with the infrastructure pieces that need to be put in place, identifying something that we can all be proud of, that the community can invest in to help us stand out as a community, or help provide a way for us to develop some community pride.
When you have a meeting, this is a little inside baseball info I'm looking for here. When you have a meeting with the mayor about something as important as this $220 million bond issue, when you have a meeting with the mayor, is it just you and him, or do you take your people and you go in and he's got him and his people, and you close the door and there's like 10 of you in the room, or was it sort of a one-on-one, we can be frank?
Oh, I think in this particular instance, it was that it was a latter, and he had reached out after we received the letter and said, "Hey, can we sit down and talk?" And I'm always open to that, and I like to think we have a good relationship and can have those conversations. There is a point. I think we do have people with a lot of expertise on our board, people who are in the design, construction, build, financing community, and if there's an opportunity for us to provide some expertise or some perspective, we're more than happy to do that as well.
We have him on, Mayor Perkins, just past 8 o'clock. I can ask him the same question. But when you say to the mayor, look, I'm looking at this $220 million deal, I think it might be a little high. What was his response to that?
Well, I mean, it's his plan, so he's clearly he believes that everything in there is worth fighting for, and I think that's his prerogative. And I think he also recognizes that this is a dialogue, both not only with us but with the city council as well. And so I think he has a rationale for everything that's in there, and I think we have some questions and they've been very forthcoming in their willingness to talk with us and to provide us with information. So, there's a public meeting next week that we'll certainly be a part of. And if there's an opportunity for us to provide additional input or, if there are ways that we can be helpful in the process beyond that, we're certainly happy to do that.
Tim, the concerns that you've expressed to the mayor and to the city council members, was this from your members, from your board, from you as the president, all of the above, the committee of 100? You've heard from a lot of people then who have concerns.
Well, we definitely, as we know that we're going to be asked to support the bond issue. That the city has come to us in the past, as have the school system, as has the parish, and given that we had an opportunity to inject ourselves into the conversation at this point in the process, so that ideally we can come together to build a proposal that we can all support and that moves the city forward. We felt it was important to reach out at this point.
Not that this is a pet peeve of anyone in the room, but the 2011 bond issue, and you mentioned it a minute ago, so I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. Sure. Let's take Knight Street. We voted on it in 2011. Mm-hmm. Widen Knight Street, put in sidewalks, put in lighting. Sitting here waiting. Mm-hmm. Nothing's done. How do I feel? How am I going to feel differently about this bond issue when I'm looking at stuff that I voted on 8 or 9 years ago, and not a piece of dirt's been turned yet?
Well, again, and I think that's one of the things that we want to make sure that, to the extent that we can, we're identifying those opportunities to make sure that, hey, this is appropriately budgeted. There's enough money for this in today's dollars, not in whatever it may have been put on the list. We want to make sure that there's capacity at the city engineer or at the MPC to be able to get these projects appropriately managed and monitored to get them completed. And my perspective, and this is something that I'm not trying to advise the mayor in any way, but it would seem to me that at this point, being able to have some projects that get bonded, that get done, that you can say, hey, we were able to be successful. We're good stewards with your money. We got these projects done on time. Would enable the mayor and the future administrations to go back to folks and say, hey, we need additional dollars to continue to build this. We have a substantial number of needs in the community that need to be funded, and I think what we need to make sure of is that we're good stewards with the resources that we have, and that we're able to be successful in accomplishing the infrastructure redevelopment that's necessary.
Time for one more, kid. You want it?
This might be out of your wheelhouse, but I'll throw it at you and see. Police substations. Mm-hmm. They had them in Baton Rouge. They shut them down. Mm-hmm. We're talking about building police substations in Shreveport. Is that on a list of things that you would consider primary need of our community at this stage?
I think that's one of the ones, frankly, that I think we need to know more about. Just having a building isn't necessarily a deterrent, right? We need to understand what the plan is around that, what staffing looks like. And it may be that, yes, we need substations, but it also may be that there are storefronts we could use, or there are other things that we could do, or that actually we need to just have more visible policing in the neighborhoods. That to me is a broader conversation about the mayor and the police chief's approach toward public safety, and if there's a rationale that, hey, we need these substations because that's the linchpin in how we do this, then I think we're open to that conversation. But that's not, again, that isn't in the bond proposal. There's physical infrastructure in the bond proposal, but how that factors into an overall public safety approach isn't clear.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in.
Tim Magner, President, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. A pleasure as always. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Don't forget Mayor Adrian Perkins here just, at least via phone.
And we're going to talk street lights with Michael Corbin from SWEPCO.
We need a 5-hour show.
We do.
Let's not be silly.
Nah.
Traffic update, here's Ruben.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Olive Streets dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Brownlee Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, a bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard DeWetta, Get the Weather Channel.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump has officially retired after 27 years of service. 7 candidates are vying to be Crump's full-time replacement. Ben Raymond, Michael Carter, Janice Daly, Jason Frazier, Tedra Smith, Wayne Smith, and Kevin Strickland have all taken the civil service exam and hope to be the next chief. Now, an advisory panel made up of citizens and public officials, including Steve Prater and Jerry Bowman, the council president, will help the mayor choose the city's next law enforcement leader. The Shreveport Dog Park is back open for the pups. All the cleanup from the flooding is finished. The park's been closed since early May. By the way, a group is working to open another dog park in Shreveport at the Southern Hills Park. We're just days away from the opening of the new Benton High School. Workers putting the finishing touches on the new $47 million complex before opening the doors to students on August 7th. Fire contained at the Exxon plant in Beaumont, Texas. After an explosion, 37 people were hurt. After several major delays, it appears that medical marijuana will be made available to those who need it in the next few weeks. Those with PTSD, cancer, epilepsy, and other serious conditions can have the medication prescribed by licensed doctors in the state. We asked Ag Commissioner Mike Strain what's happening with this now.
Now we are testing the final patient product. The product has been bottled.
Those who think they need medical marijuana treatments will have to be recommended by their doctor to a licensed physician able to prescribe the drug. Medical marijuana treatments are expected to be available at the Shreveport Pharmacy as early as next week. The Chamber of Commerce wants the mayor to revise his bond package. Matt Parker with that.
The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much and has asked the mayor and the council to consider paring it back. Chamber leaders are urging them to only include essential capital projects and 1 or 2 quality of life improvements. Chamber President Tim Magner met with Perkins Wednesday to discuss possible changes to the bond package. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Louisiana Motor Transport Association pushing legislation to pass billboard reform regarding lawyers. The group says the amount of billboard lawyer advertisements is increasing the amount of insurance fraud in the state and causing trucking companies to quit doing business in Louisiana. An elderly man drowns on Toledo Bend. According to the Sabine Parish Coroner's Office, 78-year-old William Ryan drowned near the A1 campgrounds. Officials say Ryan lost control of his boat while launching it to fish and was attempting to retrieve it when he drowned. Tulane releasing a report comparing pre- and post-expansion quality of life for the Medicaid expansions enrollees, and the results do look positive. Monthly trips to the ER were down 22%. Tulane Health Policy Chair Mark Diana says repeat visitors saw a nearly 9% drop in visits.
People who were going 2, 3, 4 times a month to the ED. And we saw those people, their utilization also dropped. For the Medicaid program, that's clearly going to represent some cost savings.
The study also shows the number of people who report they did not take medication as prescribed due to cost dropped by 66%. LSU football kicks off camp today with the team rolling into Baton Rouge with more hype and expectations than they've had in over half a decade. Fans are buzzing about the addition of former Saints assistant Joe Brady, who's been tasked with dragging the offense into the 21st century. Tiger Rag assistant editor Tyler Nunez.
Obviously, the new offense is something to look at. Obviously, we're not going to see what this looks like at fall camp, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we do see in individual drills from the offense.
Brady was brought on as a passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach. A laid-off dad in Arizona got desperate, started handing out his resumes at street corners. He's now gotten hundreds of job offers. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Mayor Adrian Perkins joins us just after 8 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a question. Based on what Mr. Magner from the Chamber of Commerce said to us, a lot of awesome and information-filled responses, answers. Has it changed any of the questions that you have for Mayor Perkins when he joins us in just about 30 or 35 minutes?
Yeah, one or two. I have one or two new ones. I don't want to share them now because I don't want to give the mayor a heads up.
Really?
In case he's listening. Morning to you, AP. How are you doing? Shout out.
Shout out to your boy, yo. Good Lord.
Don't do that.
No. Speaking of Erin McCarty and her public persona. So I went last night. I went to it's a Lift Up Louisiana. And it was put on by John Kay and the Americans for Prosperity organization. And there's a lot of folks, maybe 60, 70, 75. There were a bunch of folks there.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know the number one question that I got last night regarding the Robert and Erin show, specifically yesterday's program?
Mm-hmm.
The number one question.
Oh, something to do with my Pib?
Has Erin calmed down yet?
Yeah.
Has Erin relaxed?
Yeah.
Has Erin reached a sense of inner peace?
Erin counted again this morning, and the numbers are still going up.
What are we doing next? Go to break. What are we doing next?
Street lights.
And?
Michael Corbin with SWEPCO, former city council member. He kind of knows
the bravest man in America
now. He is in the hot seat, and I put a whoopee cushion in it, baby.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on North Spring Street near East Stoner Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Olmsted Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty.
Oh, boy.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884.
Okay.
So former City Councilman Michael Corbin is here, but you are not here in any previously held role as a governmental official, I guess.
Well, he's got background he can share because of that, I guess. But he's
does
now
that-
with SWEPCO.
Yeah.
And
Not now with SWEPCO. He's been with SWEPCO.
do you need some money for light bulbs, Michael?
Well, first we're going to do some yoga and do some calming exercises.
What do you mean we? No, you don't mean by we. You mean at that end of the gopher-shaped broadcast
We're going
table.
to the right end of the table.
Help explain to people who say SWEPCO's in charge of the lights. It's not the city. It's SWEPCO. Why are you griping at the city? Explain that overall umbrella, because y'all SWEPCO does some, the city does some, etc.
It is extremely confusing, and SWEPCO provides the power for all the lights. Where it gets confusing is who is responsible for maintaining which lights. So in City of Shreveport, for example, we have lights that we maintain. The city pays the bill, but we maintain them. We have lights that are in the downtown area that the Downtown Development Authority monitors and has some say over. And then we have lights on the interstate system and state highways that the city of Shreveport is responsible for maintaining.
That's really complex.
It is about as complex as you
Let's
can get.
start with my number one headache, Uri Drive.
Okay.
That's you.
It's not me.
That is SWEPCO, purely SWEPCO.
From basically the juvenile court building to Florida Lucas Road is SWEPCO.
Okay. We got a problem.
It's a problematic area.
Why?
Car accidents, basically. Car accidents in the area between Juvenile Court and Stoner Avenue. We've replaced 10 light poles already this year.
There are now, this morning, my count, because I don't have anything better to do, there are 49 lights out on Uri Drive between East Kings and I-20. 49.
Yep.
The poles are in awful shape. They're rusted out. They look dreadful during the daytime. Who's going to change the poles out?
Well, and there's a lot of things going on. So far this year, we're averaging about 350 streetlight repairs per month. Now, I went to school in North Bossier Parish, so my math may not be good, but I think that's about 2,500 repairs that we've made this year. What happens
Ye
is...
gods, man. It's
a lot of time, it's a lot of resources, and many times we fix a light and we go right back. Car accidents are our number one problem. The other thing
But
is...
that doesn't knock out 49 lights, Michael.
Well, it's just like Christmas lights. If one light goes out, it will take out 15 or 20 poles with it because they're all wired together.
Okay.
I live south part of town on Uri. Recently, somebody in a truck came through, took out light pole, concrete base, everything at Uri and Sophia, and it took out probably 10 lights until that pole can be repaired and everything's back rewired.
Okay, the I-20 problem. Monkhouse eastbound, every light is off between Monkhouse and almost all the way to Hearn.
Yep.
That's when people get off an airplane at our airport. They come into our city. It has to be more than a bulb issue. It has to be somebody's chewing up the wires. Do you guys come in and fix the wires if it's a wiring issue?
What we're going to do is we'll come in and make sure that power has not been interrupted. Sometimes if there's some flooding rains or, again, a car accident or rodents can cause a fuse to trip. So the first thing we'll do, whether we maintain the lights or not, is are we supplying power? And once we can check power off the list, there's power there, something else is wrong, then at that point we can defer it to the city, to the traffic engineering department, and say, you've got a problem with these lights. We have power. Proceed from there.
I hearken back to your reference to it's like Christmas lights.
Yeah.
A, I had no idea. B, is that how most everybody else does it? I mean, if I go to Tyler, if I go to Longview, if I go to Dallas, if I go wherever it happens to be, is it all wired like that, or is that a money-saving thing, or what's the deal?
Usually it's wired like that. Now, how long that circuit is, where one light goes out and you lose a lot of them, that may vary, and it varies in Shreveport, by neighborhood. In some neighborhoods, you'll see that they're powered by overhead power lines, some underground. There's a lot of construction going on in Shreveport right now with consent decree work, with other utilities doing work, with people replacing driveways. And a lot of times those power lines get cut, and it can be, by the time we get a contractor and get them engaged, identify it, get a contractor, get them engaged, it could be 4 to 6 weeks before that repair is actually made.
So, Uri Drive lights, 4 to 6 weeks still?
Well, we have done two
I wanted
things.
it for my birthday, Saturday.
I'm working on it for you, Erin.
Okay.
We just finished up a big project on Mansfield Road from the city limits up to 70th Street, replacing fixtures, making sure all those lights are on. Now, as soon as I say this, there'll be a traffic accident or something in 10 minutes, and it'll take some of them out. But we've made good progress there. But we've switched over to Uri now.
Okay.
And we're doing the same thing. And we recently had approval from the Public Service Commission they've approved some rates where now we can begin to replace streetlights with LED streetlight heads, which are going to have a longer life, less moving parts, and we think that's going to make a difference as well.
But to sum up, for somebody who was concerned about, on some road, a vast stretch of lighting being out, it's way more than just somebody climbing up there and unscrewing a light bulb in most cases.
Yeah, in some cases it is. It's either the sensor's gone out or the light bulb's gone out. But that is not often the case. Usually it's something bigger. Usually it's the circuit's been broken or something like that. And we have some old fixtures, and that's why we're going to take the stance of, instead of replacing these old fixtures, let's just begin to put in new fixtures, these new LED fixtures moving forward.
Last 30 seconds with the I-20 problem. Are you aware of that? I mean, I've griped about it.
Yep.
Does it get to you guys from when I send a complaint?
Oh, it does. It
Okay.
does. And, for the public, you can report an outage on our website at swepco.com. There's a tab for report an outage, and you click on streetlight, give the address. And that's one of the things. Like, I got an email from City Hall yesterday from a high-level person at City Hall who said, streetlights are out on Uri. Can you address? Well, if
I wonder where they got that.
What a coincidence.
If I turned around and I emailed and said, hey, there's a water leak on Uri, can you address? We've got to be specific. And I encourage, the citizens who are calling in and reporting this online, give us a cross street, give us an address, give us a poll number, because it really helps narrow down the process.
And I know I sound petty when I talk about streetlights, and people go, well, how about the roads? How about it's a sign, Michael, of the symptoms of our city when I hear my son say, Shreveport looks like a town nobody cares about. That's why I get so upset about this. I guess you understand that.
Oh, quality of life and first impressions are huge. And, the segment before when you had Tim Magner in here, he talked about that. And we want people who come to Shreveport to look around and go, I like this place. And streetlights, roads, litter, all that plays a big part in it.
Yeah, Kazakhstanians are here. I want them to be able to see our city.
You know what I'm getting you for your birthday?
What?
A ladder and some bulbs.
Oh, fun.
When your back's better, you're going up about 40 feet, kid. Michael Corbin, SWEPCO, former city councilman, thank you for your time, sir. A pleasure as always. 1017, 101. I'm not really going to get you a ladder. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on North Spring Street near East Stoner Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Olmenden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard DeWetta, Get the Weather Channel.
FM, 710 Keel and Sports Time.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Houston made the biggest move among the big league squads before Wednesday's trade deadline, acquiring six-time All-Star starter pitcher Zach Greinke. The deal came with Arizona and basically only cost Houston 3 prospects, although 3 of their top 5 prospects. Greinke arrives with a 10-4 record and a 2.90 earned run average, which makes him fit right in with Houston's rotation of Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Wade Miley, all of whom, like Greinke, are in the top 15 in the major leagues in terms of earned run average. Last night, Cleveland blasted 3 3-run home runs, though, in a 10-4 takedown of the Astros. Texas held on to pitcher Mike Minor through the trade deadline, and he picked up his first win in over a month last night in Arlington, despite not really pitching that well. His offense picked him up in a 9-7 win over Seattle. The Saints and wide receiver Michael Thomas agreed to a deal yesterday morning for 5 years, $100 million with $61 million guaranteed. He's the highest paid receiver in the NFL now, and he's signed with the Saints through 2024. Speaking of football, it kicks off tonight in Canton, Ohio. It's the Hall of Fame game. It's Denver versus Atlanta. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. Not to spend a lot of time on the second Democrat debate last night, but I did make some notes and wrote some stuff down, just the things that I found the most interesting. Former Vice President Joe Biden declared at the second Democrat debate in Detroit Wednesday evening he would fight climate change. You ready for this? What was our conversation yesterday? You know, you go into the grocery store and all the stuff at the grocery store, the amazing food and grocery industry in the United States of America. You go in there, the shelves are full. The produce section is all fresh. It's an amazing, amazing place. And you know how it all gets there? By truck.
Truck that runs on fuel.
Former Vice President Joe Biden declared at the second Democrat debate in Detroit Wednesday evening he would fight climate change by eliminating coal and fossil fuels. Eliminating coal and fossil fuels. Dana Bash, CNN, says, "Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just to clarify, would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?" Remember now how those grocery stores are grocery stores.
Yep.
Biden says, no, we would make sure it's eliminated.
Oh, boy.
So the front runner.
So how are we going to get our groceries? Drones are going to fly them in?
They don't give a damn. So the front runner for the Democratic presidential nomination, even though it's this early, along with all the others, looks at you and says, you know those grocery stores? Hey, Kroger. Hey, Albertsons. Hey, Whole Foods. Get ready, because we're going to knock out not only are we going to knock out about half your inventory or more, but your prices are going to go probably more than double.
Whoa, boy.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Sean Hannity.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Warren saying we live in a country now where the president is, what does this even mean? Advancing environmental racism, economic racism, criminal justice racism, and healthcare racism. Well, the fact that it's the best employment situation in America since 1969, and the people that were so disproportionately negatively impacted by the Biden-Obama economic policies, the fact that we now have record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, youth unemployment. Well, it sounds to me like those demographic groups are doing great under the policies of Donald J. Trump.
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
This summer, you want to upgrade your home with brand new custom window treatments from Blinds.com. Go there right now. You'll save up to 40%. Plus, you get an extra $20 off at Blinds.com by using the promo code Hannity. You get to pick the perfect look for one room or the entire home. You can pay it over time and with PayPal credit. Get 40% off plus an extra $20 at Blinds.com. Just use the promo code Hannity. Blinds.com, promo code Hannity.
PayPal credit is subject to credit approval. Details at Blinds.com/PayPal.
It's happening to you every night. One snores and the other can't sleep. But now, there is a quick and easy-to-use solution, a natural solution. Snore Stop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S.
Thank you, Snore Stop. You saved my marriage.
It's time to try Snore Stop and make every night a better night for both of you. Spray or tablets are available today at Rite Aid and CVS or online at snorestop.com.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on Mansfield Road near Berkhoun's Industrial Loop. And we have some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM.
Good morning. It's just past 8. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and lots of local stuff. And who better than Erin to let you know?
Couple of overnight fires. One person is hurt. We'll talk more about that. The local dog park is back open. And are all those attorneys forcing trucking companies to leave our state?
Okay. So police chief stuff, because now Crump is officially retired.
He's done, yep.
$220 million bond issue stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins in just about 10 minutes, maybe a little less. You don't want to miss that. Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather, and it's all on the way this hour coming up on KEEL.
The KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Fire at the Chateau Apartments on Wayman Street off of Shreveport-Barksdale Highway. No one hurt. A woman was hurt in a downtown apartment fire. It happened on the 3rd floor of the Lee Hardware Building. The Shreveport Dog Park back open. All the cleanup from the flooding is finished. The park's been closed since early May. By the way, a group working to open another dog park in Shreveport at the Southern Hills Park. Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump officially retires after 27 years of service. 7 candidates are vying to be Crump's full-time replacement. They've all now taken the civil service exam. Are billboards going to be the death of the trucking industry in Louisiana? Matt Parker with that.
The Louisiana Motor Transport Association is pushing the legislature to pass billboard reform regarding lawyers. The group says that the amount of billboard lawyer advertisements is increasing the amount of insurance fraud in the state and causing trucking companies to quit doing business in Louisiana. According to the group, the average price to insure a truck in America is $4,000. In Louisiana, it's $20,000. A bill to reduce the amount of billboards was discussed in the last legislative session, but failed to pass. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much. They're asking the mayor and the council to consider paring it back. Chamber leaders urging them to only include essential capital projects and 1 or 2 quality-of-life improvements. Chamber President Tim Magner met with Perkins Wednesday to discuss possible changes to that package. A human skull has been found in Shreveport's Anderson Island neighborhood. According to police, the skull was found by a lawn crew on C.E. Galloway Boulevard near East Washington, across the street from the Montessori School. At this time, the Caddo Coroner's Office is trying to determine the identity and cause of death of the remains. Medical marijuana on the way for those who qualify.
It's in the bottle form. It's in elixir form with various different flavors. And we are doing the final test. We tested to make sure that it's what we call homogeneous. In other words, the first bottle and the 100th bottle and 1,000th bottle are all that have the same concentration of THC and CBD.
Ag Commissioner Mike Strain says the products could be ready for patients in the next week to 10 days. An elderly man drowns on Toledo Bend. According to the Sabine Parish Coroner's Office, 78-year-old William Ryan drowned near the A1 campgrounds. Officials say Ryan lost control of his boat while launching it to fish and was attempting to retrieve it when he drowned. Louisiana now has a minimum age for marriage in the state. The new law goes into effect today, sets the age at 16. During discussion by lawmakers, the age limit received pushback from GOP members, saying it puts a roadblock in front of marriage in the event of teenage pregnancy. President of Louisiana Family Forum, Gene Mills, was among those in opposition to that age limit.
It's in a better posture than it was when it was originally proposed. The original proposal came with a prohibition under 18. We felt like that was too strong.
Mills says the new law still gets in the way of having a child being born into a proper family setting with the lack of traditional marriage. You might not believe this, but the U.S. has had 20 mass killings so far this year. 4 of them happened in public places. The majority of the mass killings this year have been domestic related. Not sure I'd try this, but French's teams up with Cool House to create mustard-flavored ice cream. It will only be available in a few select large cities. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.7 FM 710 KEEL. Traffic time from Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on Mansfield Road near Burcoon's Industrial Loop. And we have some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Little slur there. I didn't mean to.
It's all right.
I had a quarter of a beer last night.
Whoa.
And I am paying the price.
You are rolling in
Reckless is the word I would use.
Man, crazy
Reckless. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. That Keel app, always a free download, presented by Office Furniture Source. Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins here for a little bit. Mr. Adrian, welcome back to Keel. How is his honor this morning?
I'm good. How you doing, Robert?
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
I think I'm better than you with that quarter of a beer. You need to
It's
work on
because you are a man of discipline, and you hold your body in higher regard than I do my own.
You know, AP, and I apologize for calling you AP. That's our little
It's all right.
nickname
It is
around
okay.
here. I woke up this morning more proud of you than I've ever been. And I know I rag on you a
Really?
lot.
What did I do?
So I wanted to tell you the names on your advisory committee for the police chief. I was impressed. Robert said a couple weeks ago, you could have named your buddies. You could have named people that you're. No, I'm like, wow. I'm feeling really optimistic about you today, and I know I've been down on you a bit.
It's all right. Well, no, we wanted to bring the most qualified people to the table to kind of help me. And, I've never been a police officer before, so we wanted to bring some experts to the table to help me pick the right person for our city. So that's what we did. That was the objective.
Alan Crump out. When did you get the notification? And he's gone officially now, right?
He is. And I actually got the notification a couple months ago. I gave him a call and talked to him about his plans. And, he talked to me about his surgery and some of the medical stuff. And, so I knew that this was coming. So we had a nice long talk in my office last week. And, yeah, we signed the paperwork.
Really, as far as day-to-day operation of the department, that not much is going to change for the time being, right?
No. I mean, Interim Chief Ben Raymond has done a fantastic job, in my opinion, and the department is up and running. So, no, the only thing that'll change will be down the road once the police chief is selected. And, yeah, there's a codified leader in that position.
Chief Raymond has done a fantastic job, in my opinion. Is that a hint?
No hint, because I'm not going to be on the selection committee that's going to give me the three names, right? So, I think he's done a fantastic job. But we still got room for improvement, right? I mean, public safety in the city, we're down this year numerically, but we still have a perception problem. So there's still room for improvement. We are always going to fight to keep our city as safe as possible. So.
Marching orders to this.
No hints, Robert.
Your marching orders to this advisory panel and to whoever wants to be the next chief. What is on your list? What are your top priorities for who this chief has to be? What kind of person? What kind of job they have to do?
Oh yeah. So number one priority is a police chief that understands community-oriented policing, can understand the policies that need to be implemented to make sure that we're encouraging and incentivizing our officers to get to know the community that they're serving. That's number one. Number two is I need an innovative leader, right? We talk about budget and money and a bunch of other things. Well, this leader is working with constrained resources and needs to solve some really big problems. They need to solve a perception problem where they're fighting against social media and a bunch of other things. They need to be able to include technology. So I'm looking for an innovative leader as well that's going to be thinking outside the box to make our police department better.
Does the score on the civil service exam matter to you much? And what's your time frame?
It does matter to me. I think it's a indicator of the competence of the candidate. So, yeah, it definitely matters to me, but it's not the only matter. Just like college admissions, I've told the committee I want this to be a holistic process. So, when they conduct interviews, I want them to weigh that as they weigh the police chief. So the time frame, we want to get it right. So we're not going to rush this at all. Whenever my committee feels comfortable in submitting me some names, we're going to get this done.
Speaking of the committee, what are they going to give back to you? A list of top three in order? Are they just going to say, here's what what sort of report will they present to you?
We're going to get a list of three names, no order, with a synopsis on why these are the best candidates, some ups and some downs for the committee.
Can you pick off of that three? If your choice is not among those three, can you venture off?
And pardon me, sort of to dovetail with that, what kind of homework are you doing, sort of parallel to your committee?
Well, I mean, I've interviewed everybody on this list for various positions. So I'm pretty familiar with everybody on the list. I'm not going to do anything further outside of just studying their records. assigning this committee to just kind of let me know what they think. And the committee will be. These are experts, and we talk all the time about this even before it started. So
you're committed
I'm positive I'll get enough information.
You're committed to picking one of the three they send to you.
There will have to be a very crazy circumstance. I'll put it that way. So yeah, the likelihood is very high that I'm going to select somebody that's the committee. I'm talking about in the 90 percentile. It would have to be a very odd thing.
Okay, Tim Magner was sitting in this chair earlier this morning. He sat in with you yesterday. Gave you some. He gave you some ideas, vision on the bond issue. Your reaction?
To Tim, we talked about some of Tim's concerns, and Tim sent us an email last week. There's some things that we differ on, but going forward, we're going to work more closely with them. I wish the chamber would have came to our meetings. We had open meetings for the Citizen Bond Committee. I wish they would have came in and kind of got involved earlier in the process. But that didn't happen. But we're just going to work closer together going forward. Some of Tim's critiques is that we haven't completed the bond projects from 2011. Well, mostly all of those projects are complete except or nearing completion except the water and sewer project. So
Ninth Street.
Yeah. Ninth Street is included in that. But again, we're wrapping it up, right? Now, and that doesn't stop the fact that our city is still needs are still popping up as time goes on. So just because we haven't completely used all the money from previous bonds, that doesn't stop us from, having to fill needs today.
One of the criticisms, I guess the biggest criticism of the $220 million bond issue is that, holy cow, man, that's a lot of money. Well, one of the questions I asked Mr. Tim was given the scope of some of the projects, and I sort of used the consent decree as an example, that started off $350 million. Now it's $1.1 billion. So given the scope of some of your projects in this $220 million bond issue and the time that it might take to implement a lot of those ideas and projects, sort of a two-parter. A, is it possible that $220 million is not enough? And B, how many of those projects listed in your bond issue ideas are shovel-ready, ready to go?
Yeah. So to your first point about it being enough, the consent decree that's like apples and oranges compared to these bond projects. Because the consent decree, they gave us that initial estimate before they went in and do an analysis at all. So they were kind of guessing with their eyes closed on that first, $300 million estimate that they gave the city. These projects are ones that we don't need to go in and do an analysis to kind of figure out those amounts. We built a fire station before. So our analysis are a lot more exact on this one. So I don't think I think $220 million is going to be enough. And another point I want to point out before I go on to your second part is that we're not going to spend $220 million in a year or even, over my administration, over the 4 years of my administration. There are going to be tranche issues throughout. So we'll break it up into a series of 3 or 4 so that we can make sure we're responsibly building up these capital projects. We're not concerned about
So you
this.
have taken inflation, increased cost, et cetera, into consideration when you make your cost estimates for, say, theoretically, road repair, police station repair, new fire stations, et cetera.
I'm glad you brought that up. 100%. And this is so early in the process. You got to realize, when the citizens vote on this bond, we are going to have worked out details. They'll be voting on, let's just say, throwing this out there, $30 million for street repairs. We're going to go in and make sure we work out every single detail that you just covered so that money is allocated towards street repairs or towards, like I said, a fire station or something. So, yeah, the details are going to be worked out. This is really early in the process.
Okay, Mayor Adrian Perkins, last question. It's a trick question. I'm gonna see if you're gonna. I'm gonna see.
Favorite.
I'm gonna see if you're gonna give me the political answer or if you're gonna give me the straight answer.
Oh, brother!
All right, let's hear it. What is it?
This is a tax increase.
So the straight answer is that no, it is not. It is not a tax increase.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It is a renewal.
Wait, no. If my car note ends in December and I'm done paying my car note, I got my car, and I don't have to pay that note anymore.
Excuse me, Mr. Adrian. She and I have argued about this.
No. You hush up over there.
On it, Robert, what are you saying on it?
I say, but you're getting a new car.
No, it's not a new car.
There we go. Aaron, you are getting completely new services. Absolutely. That is the best way that.
Well, I'm still waiting
You're
on
getting
Ninth
completely-
Street, and that went off my books 8 years ago.
But Aaron, do you want us to rush Ninth Street and it's broken and we say it's fixed and then a year later it's broken again, or do you want us to get it right and you don't have to worry about it for 10, 20
Well,
years?
I'd like to drive on it rather than use my wheelchair on it.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to make sure you can drive on it, Aaron. We will knock that out. But,
So you're saying this is not a tax increase, and you're sticking by that political answer?
This is not a tax. This is a renewal from the 96 and 99 millage. But also, Aaron, keep in mind, Shreveport's millage is at the lowest it has been in 35 years. The lowest it has been. So, and I want to note, Shreveport is not the only taxing authority in the city, and the city only accounts for 1/5 of the taxes that you pay.
Oh, I know about the school board. Trust me.
Yeah. So I just want to keep it all in perspective. This is the lowest we've been in 35 years. I want people to know that we understand the economy here. In this renewal, we can afford, and we absolutely need to make sure that the quality of life in Shreveport is better.
Adrian Perkins, Mayor of Shreveport, thanks for your candor. Appreciate it this morning.
Thank you, Aaron and Robbie. Y'all take it easy.
A pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. 101.7 FM 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Responders are still on the scene of a vehicle fire on I-220 eastbound near Hillary Huckabee the 3rd Avenue. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor accident on I-20 eastbound near I-49 South. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, a bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel. .107 FM 710 KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Houston made the biggest move among the big league squads before Wednesday's trade deadline, acquiring six-time All-Star starter pitcher Zach Greinke. The deal came with Arizona and basically only cost Houston 3 prospects, although 3 of their top 5 prospects. Greinke arrives with a 10-4 record and a 2.90 earned run average, which makes him fit right in with Houston's rotation of Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Wade Miley, all of whom, like Greinke, are in the top 15 in the major leagues in terms of earned run average. Last night, Cleveland blasted 3 3-run home runs, though, in a 10-4 takedown of the Astros. Texas held on to pitcher Mike Minor through the trade deadline, and he picked up his first win in over a month last night in Arlington, despite not really pitching that well. His offense picked him up in a 9-7 win over Seattle. The Saints and wide receiver Michael Thomas agreed to a deal yesterday morning for 5 years, $100 million with $61 million guaranteed. He's the highest paid receiver in the NFL now, and he's signed with the Saints through 2024. Speaking of football, it kicks off tonight in Canton, Ohio. It's the Hall of Fame game. It's Denver versus Atlanta. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. What did you have yesterday? We went to Papa and Company for lunch yesterday.
Yeah, it's on East Washington, just east of Uri Drive, if you don't know where it is.
Okay, here's the deal.
Best hamburger in town.
They had, because they invited us to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are a new sponsor with Robert and Erin. They
Yeah.
said, stop by.
They're a Robert and Erin joint.
Get to know folks, say hello, get a lay of the land, as it were. So we figured we'd go in, say hi to the owner, we'd order, we'd sit down. That's not quite how it happened.
They put out kind of one of everything.
Smorgasbord.
Oh, my goodness. And I wanted the muffaletta because I'd never had one. They had one ready to go for me, and it was the jam.
What was it again?
It was the jam.
I had, they knew, they must have been listening. Their shrimp po' boy is awesome.
They make their own bread. It's all made right there in the business, and it is known as the best burger and the largest burger you're going to find in Louisiana.
And just as an aside, for those of you who are, well, you'll get this. On their soda machine, they have Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
Okay? I don't do a lot of sugary drinks.
Right.
They have Diet Dr. Pepper. When I splurge, I go with Diet something. Diet Dr. Pepper is, what was that word again?
Yum.
The jam,
The
yeah.
jam. And sweet potato fries. Don't forget those when you're in Papa and Company, East Washington, just east of Uri Drive. It's good food.
Good Lord. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Local news is next. Here's Ruben.
Just received reports of a minor accident on I-20 eastbound near I-49 south, and responders are still on scene of a fire on I-220 eastbound near Hillary Huckabee III Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, get the Weather Channel.
KEEL News now.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump has officially retired after 27 years of service. 7 candidates are vying to be Crump's full-time replacement. Ben Raymond, Michael Carter, Janice Daly, Jason Frazier, Tedra Smith, Wayne Smith, and Kevin Strickland have all taken the civil service exam and hope to be the next chief. Now, an advisory panel made up of citizens and public officials, including Steve Prater and Jerry Bowman, the council president, will help the mayor choose the city's next law enforcement leader. The Shreveport Dog Park is back open for the pups. All the cleanup from the flooding is finished. The park's been closed since early May. By the way, a group is working to open another dog park in Shreveport at the Southern Hills Park. We're just days away from the opening of the new Benton High School. Workers putting the finishing touches on the new $47 million complex before opening the doors to students on August 7th. Fire contained at the Exxon plant in Beaumont, Texas after an explosion. 37 people were hurt. After several major delays, it appears that medical marijuana will be made available to those who need it in the next few weeks. Those with PTSD, cancer, epilepsy, and other serious conditions can have the medication prescribed by licensed doctors in the state. We asked Ag Commissioner Mike Strain what's happening with this now.
Now we are testing the final patient product. The product has been bottled.
Those who think they need medical marijuana treatments will have to be recommended by their doctor to a licensed physician able to prescribe the drug. Medical marijuana treatments are expected to be available at the Shreveport Pharmacy as early as next week. The Chamber of Commerce wants the mayor to revise his bond package. Matt Parker with that.
The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce thinks Mayor Perkins' $220 million bond package is too much and has asked the mayor and the council to consider paring it back. Chamber leaders are urging them to only include essential capital projects and 1 or 2 quality of life improvements. Chamber President Tim Magner met with Perkins Wednesday to discuss possible changes to the bond package. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Louisiana Motor Transport Association pushing legislation to pass billboard reform regarding lawyers. The group says the amount of billboard lawyer advertisements is increasing the amount of insurance fraud in the state and causing trucking companies to quit doing business in Louisiana. An elderly man drowns on Toledo Bend. According to the Sabine Parish Coroner's Office, 78-year-old William Ryan drowned near the A1 campgrounds. Officials say Ryan lost control of his boat while launching it to fish and was attempting to retrieve it when he drowned. Tulane releasing a report comparing pre- and post-expansion quality of life for the Medicaid expansions enrollees, and the results do look positive. Monthly trips to the ER were down 22%. Tulane Health Policy Chair Mark Diana says repeat visitors saw a nearly 9% drop in visits.
People who were going 2, 3, 4 times a month to the ED, and we saw those people, their utilization also dropped. For the Medicaid program, that's clearly going to represent some cost savings.
The study also shows the number of people who report they did not take medication as prescribed due to cost dropped by 66%. LSU football kicks off camp today with the team rolling into Baton Rouge with more hype and expectations than they've had in over half a decade. Fans are buzzing about the addition of former Saints assistant Joe Brady, who's been tasked with dragging the offense into the 21st century. Tiger Rag assistant editor Tyler Nunez.
Obviously, the new offense is something to look at. Obviously, we're not going to see what this looks like at fall camp, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we do see in individual drills from the offense.
Brady was brought on as a passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach. A laid-off dad in Arizona got desperate, started handing out his resumes at street corners. He's now gotten hundreds of job offers. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin Yesem.
I got a great text from our buddy Jack.
Jack, last name to be...
not going to be said, but he knows who he is.
Oh, brother.
Sent me a picture. There are city crews on I-20, Juella Monkhouse area, fixing lights as we speak. Thank you, City of Shreveport. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Erin McCarty.
Mm-hmm.
The number
why
one
do I
question...
have to go crazy to get them to fix them?
The number one question I got last night, I mentioned this last hour, I will repeat. The number one question about the show that I got last night, Lift Up Louisiana, John K., Americans for Prosperity, Louisiana chapter.
Lift up the light bulbs.
His get-together. Number one question was from folks about the show, is Erin calmed down yet? She sounded like she was kind of crazy.
I lost
meaning yesterday morning.
I lost it.
Huh?
I really did lose it. And it's not about the light bulbs. It's way bigger than the light bulbs to me. It's more about what's the impression you're giving to the world. What's the trash look like? What do the roads look like? We have visitors from all around the world now for this volleyball tournament.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
That's what I said.
Mm-hmm. Bulgaria? Is it Bulgaria?
Yeah.
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
That's my friends.
Bunch of vampires getting off the plane.
Argentinian folks are here.
That was Romania, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Sorry, Bulgaria. What the hell?
And they're bringing their coaches and their trainers and their staff members and their managers and all their family members with them. And we can't keep lights on. And, this is, I'm pretty sure the Kazakhstanis, this is their first trip to Shreveport. I don't think any of them are making a return visit to Shreveport.
The fact that you said Kazakhstani and referred to those from Kazakhstan correctly is something that Matt and I are going to remember
pretty amazing
for a long, long time. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, traffic time. Ruben's here.
Responders are still on the scene of a vehicle fire on I-220 eastbound near Hillary Huckabee III Avenue. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor accident on I-20 eastbound near I-49 South. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A bump up in the rain and thunderstorm chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine here today, a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon at 93. Fair skies tonight, low 73. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 93. Afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday, slightly cooler Saturday, up at 87. Richard Noetta, Get the Weather Channel.
Here's what I know, and I can say unequivocally, without hesitation, with no doubt in my mind whatsoever. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. Without hesitation, with no reservation, with total assuredness, if I'm mowing a lawn and I come upon a skull, I know I'm freaking out.
Right, me too.
So the point being, for them to recognize these lawn guys said skull, I mean, it had to be recognizable as a skull.
Yes.
It couldn't be just like some chunk of somebody's head. What happened?
It was over there off of East Washington on C.E. Galloway, right across the street from the Montessori School, back behind those homes on East Washington. Mowing crews, I guess maybe they were down in the ditch, I'm not sure, and they ran across a human skull.
What?
It appears to be a human skull. I imagine they know it's a human skull. And they've taken it to the Faces Lab in Baton Rouge for identification. to see if they can reconstruct.
One of those rebuilding clay
I guess
CSI
what they do.
things?
They searched for a long time, for many hours, to see if there are other remains in that area.
Yeah.
They're not saying much about what else they may have found or how long it had been there or anything like that. But, finding a skull is, ugh. I mean, I had one.
I've mowed a lawn or two in my time, mostly at 1902 Bay Street, Bossier City, Louisiana, 71111. I never came upon a skull anywhere, and I would freak out. And Matt chastised me earlier.
Sissy.
You chastised me for saying, if I'm mowing the lawn, if I'm edging the sidewalk, if I've got the leaf blower out, and suddenly I blow somebody's head, I'm going, oh my God. And he says, no. What is your dead
You act
body?
like you've never found a dead body before.
Yeah.
God.
What kind of life have you lived?
I found a dead body.
Yes.
And it's just another day in the life of M. Parker.
I'm not the only one. Erin has
a dead body too.
You go first, then him.
Well, I was on the riverfront with some friends riding bikes years ago.
This is like Stand By Me.
Yeah.
River Phoenix.
Yeah, and one of the folks I was riding with noticed something down on the bank of the river.
The dead
And
kid.
got off the bike and went down there and saw a dead body.
What?
And I mean, it was a...
How old were you?
25, 30, I don't know. I was riding bikes
You
on the
poke it with a
riverfront.
stick?
No, I didn't poke it with a stick. It was it was creepy and smelled, and it was bloated, and it was nasty. And I'd never seen one like that before.
Like me on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's pretty much your Saturday
nobody
morning
wants
after
that.
a rough
Go ahead,
night.
go ahead. Yeah.
And of course, we call in the police, and the coroner's office comes down, and we went about our day. We didn't stay there. I'm not going to stay and watch them flip it over and do what they do with it. We were just like, this sounds gruesome. I'm sorry. Do you know when you're dead and you're in the, you blowed up about twice the size you are?
So, what is your dead guy story?
Very similar, actually, except I was...
I feel like I've missed out something.
Where have you been?
I obviously
You need to start living.
I need to get out where the dead people are.
Yeah, I was probably 10 years old or so, walking through the woods with some friends. We were getting ready.
This is a Stephen King story.
Ready to cross the creek, and we saw what the hell is that? Poked it with a stick.
Realized it with a stick.
Realized it was a feller. We called the police
realized it was a feller.
And then we called the police from a payphone.
Man.
Saw a skull.
You need to get busy living and hang with the dying.
Holy cow. I feel like I've missed out.
You know what they say, if you haven't found the body, you're going to be the body that's found.
Sort of a paraphrase on that Rounders thing. If you're in a poker game, you don't know who the sucker is.
Oh, yeah, it's you.
Probably you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the mayor's, let's review this in a couple of minutes. The mayor's advisory council to replace now retired Chief Alan Crum.
Yes.
What kind of time frame? If you missed our conversation with Mayor Perkins earlier this hour, it'll be up at the website, keelnews.com, a little bit later this morning. Some awesome stuff pertaining to, well, both topics, both the police chief replacement and the $220 million bond issue. But you...
Let me just say...
You think he knocked this out of the park.
I am the first to rag on the mayor when I think he is screwing up and stubbing his toe, in his words. And I'm going to be the first to say this advisory panel that he has selected to pick our next police chief, at a freaking boy.
Let me tell you something. If you told me that I got to pick 4 or 5 people to select the next police chief, I being, as you know, quite the political conservative, the first guy that I would pick would be Caddo Parish Sheriff Steve Prater or Bossier Parish Sheriff Julian Whittington. And I got to tell you, that's not the first name that I would think that Mr. Adrian would select. And yet
it is. Steve Prater is on his advisory panel. The Natchitoches Parish Sheriff Victor Jones is on his panel. Caddo DA James Stewart, Civil Rights Attorney Lori Lyons, criminal defense attorney Ron Machota, but Ron also does a lot of work with police officers. And so he knows a lot about the inner workings of the police department and their Bill of Rights and all that stuff. Ron's on it. Retired Assistant Chief E.J. Lewis, retired police officer and former Crime Stoppers boss Jim Talaferro, a very conservative man. He's on the panel. And City Council Chair Jerry Bowman will also serve. So you're talking about I'm impressed. I'm thinking he got this right, and he told us this morning they're going to submit 3 names to him, and he's pretty much locked in on picking one of those 3. He said it would be very, very out of character for him to go off that list.
What was the time frame he said? They're working on their own
clock? He said
he's
not going to be on a clock. He wants to get it right. He wants to get it right.
New dog park. What the hell?
Yep, the dog park is back open.
Not to replace the current. We will have a second?
Yes, at the Southern Hills Park. They're starting to work on it.
They've broken ground?
No. They're doing fundraising. There's a petition going on, but it looks like the city leaders are in favor.
Is Dog Park Alliance, the group that put together they are sort of the driving force on this one, too?
They are, and they're helping to raise money for it, too.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Your money now, just a couple of seconds away. Here's Ruben.
Responders are still on the scene of a vehicle fire on I-220 eastbound near Hillary Huckabee, the 3rd Avenue. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor accident on I-20 eastbound near I-49 south. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Weather Channel forecast, a few clouds today. Hot and humid, high near 90. Right now, 79 degrees. It's 8:50. Here comes Your Money Now.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
A new law going into effect in Louisiana today increases the penalties for parents who get into arguments or fights with referees at youth sporting events.
You see, this is how kids grow up thinking they can shout others down to get their way whenever life isn't going their way. It's one of the reasons that 80% of high school officials are quitting before their 3rd year, and why youth sports as leagues are scrambling to find enough referees just to hold games.
Remember that as you're watching your kids to see how well they play in their particular sport, they're watching you to see how well you live.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Such a loser. I've never found a dead body.
You need to get moving on that.
Yeah, I got to talk to my home association. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. Tell Robert Bay Street in Bossier City is 71112, not 71111. Just saying. I texted back, holy cow. You're right. I haven't lived there since 1971. Please forgive my mistake.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, in this Shreveport Security Systems text line text, they spell Shady Grove, Bay Street, B-A-Y.
Okay.
We lived up toward the end near Ray, the corner of Bay, and the street sign at that end of the street says B-E-Y, Bay Street.
Oh.
That's how we always spelled it. But if you wander down about 200 or 300 yards to the other corner, it says B-A-Y Street. So we always spelled it B-E-Y.
I don't
It was
know.
an awesome house.
Yeah.
I should just buy it, and that's the right it's like the Ponderosa, the right family homestead. I've told you this before. When my parents bought that house, when we moved here in January of 67.
What'd they pay for it?
About 20, I think it was 24,000, like 4 bedrooms with an upstairs den, about $24,000.
Man.
My father's monthly note was $188 a month.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? I remember 7465470 was my parents' phone number. Then they changed it. I don't know why. 7427426. Isn't that crazy?
Our first house, 4-bedroom, when my folks really upgraded, went from a 3-bedroom to 4, was $25,000.
Yeah.
We moved to the big neighborhood.
Do you know what the nut was? Do you know what the monthly was?
I don't know what the monthly was, but I know the house was a mansion to me. It was a mansion.
So they bought it for what?
$25,000.
And when your mom sold it, you know what she sold it for?
I don't remember.
My dad sold that Bay Street house it was upwards of $90,000.
I don't remember what she sold
And
it
he
for.
paid like $24,000 for it.
Yeah, I know she built a brand new one, so she did all right. She did all right. But that house to us was like, it had this long hallway. It had 4 bedrooms. I had my own bedroom. I was stoked. It was so cool. It was the coolest thing.
Okay, so earlier today, Mayor Adrian Perkins. We had from the Shreveport Chamber, Tim Magner. We had SWEPCO guy, former city councilman Michael Corbin.
Yeah.
Some amazing interviews. Look for those later if you missed them on the website at keelnews.com. Got to run, kids. Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Who's on the agenda for tomorrow? I know that State Representative Alan Seabaugh joins us, I think, at 8:10.
Also, Jenny Henson will be joining us in studio. Can you believe it's been 10 years ago since her young daughter,
So it must
Maggie
be Gift
Lee.
for Good Daytime and stuff like that.
She's got a project. It's not Gift for Good Day, but she's got another project to tell us about.
Always awesome stuff.
Yes.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.
By now, I'm sure you know that big tech is not our friend. While they make the gadgets we love, they spy, lie, and collect our personal data. Their next target? Our finances. Kim Commando with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update. Get more know-how with free tech newsletters delivered from me to your email daily. Sign up today at commando.com. A few weeks ago, Facebook announced its new digital currency, like the Bitcoin, except theirs will be called the Libra. Virtually every government, including the United States, pushed back hard. Facebook is warning investors that Libra could be coming as late as next year, or maybe not at all. How's that for clarity? Meanwhile, Apple launches the Apple Card in the next few days. Its new credit card is made of titanium. Millennials will like that. The card will have no annual fee and gives 2% back when you use it with Apple Pay. Depending on your credit rating, the APR is 13 to 22%. So, are you ready to hand over your financial data to big tech now? I'm Kim Commando. This school year, kiss expensive ink cartridges goodbye. From kindergarten to college, students, parents, and teachers are constantly having to print. And when you're printing everything from homework to study guides, you need a reliable printer that won't run out of ink right in the middle of your printing session. That's why I use the Epson EcoTank Wireless Color All-in-One Super Tank Printer. It comes with a ridiculous amount of ink, enough to print thousands of pages. It's changing the way people print. It has easy-to-fill, super-sized ink tanks, so you'll make fewer trips to the store, which means less frustration for you. Add the compact EcoTank printer to your back-to-school shopping list so you can just fill and chill. For a limited time, now through September 30th, get free overnight shipping when you use promo code EcoTankKim at checkout when you buy any EcoTank printer. That's Epson.com/EcoTankChem, and be sure to use promo code EcoTankChem at checkout. Offer valid within the 48 contiguous states. Exclusions apply, subject to availability.
Responders are still on the scene of a vehicle fire on I-220 eastbound near Hillary Huckabee III Avenue. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor accident on I-20 eastbound near I-49 South. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Weather Channel forecast. A few clouds today, maybe even mostly cloudy at times, hot and humid, about 90 the high. Right now, 79 at KEEL, 9 o'clock, Fox News time.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.